In the summer of 2017, 5 University of Dayton communication students had a double scoop of flavorful opportunity. They would not only be studying abroad in Prague and Rome, but they had been offered the chance to each make their own short film while there. It was an idea veteran film and television producer / director Kevin Maher, himself a 1973 graduate of the UD Com Arts program, planted with UD administrators John Hess and Joe Valenzano and Com Arts professor Roy Flynn, all of whom eagerly supported and fostered the concept, with the help of the Center for International Programs at UD.
Well, we started talking about this about a year ago with John and some others at the school about whether there was an opportunity to have students learn to tell a story in another format, another way besides documentary or traditional news. And so that's how it started, and then somehow it got connected to study abroad. It seemed like a great opportunity because the students that might be interested in doing it were coming along on the trip.
This is something we don't offer at the University of Dayton, so this was completely new for our students, something they've never been exposed to, so there was a lot to learn. I think it was really worthwhile doing this project.
Students Johnny Antonini, Molly Maisner, Michael Laws, and Catherine Reuter all had documentary film experience. What was unique about this opportunity is they would be making narrative films or short movies. It was an exciting challenge for students who had not studied this type of filmmaking, and they each took it up without hesitation.
It was definitely more challenging because didn't really know what to expect out there. And at the same time, I think everyone can make a short film, but we got to do it somewhere different, so it was a lot more fun.
Probably the most challenging is bringing the script to life. When you read the script yourself, you imagine how the actors are going to be, and then when you pick your actors, sometimes it's what you think, and sometimes they act it a little differently than you'd expect.
Most challenging aspect would be getting all the actors and the crew together. With other classes and things going on like that, it's kind of difficult sometimes to get everyone in the same place at the same time.
Alongside them, fellow Com Arts student Abdaelalah Alhakami volunteered to document their process, and this film is a result of his work. The students would automatically benefit from the presence of their mentor and teacher, Roy Flynn, who would be along with them as one of the faculty leaders on the study abroad trip. Also on this trip, Kevin Maher traveled to the locations in Europe to be on hand each step of the way, acting as a producer, assisting the students with the narrative film shoot debut.
It's the same shot. It's been running long.
But hold on, because
The French guy could have just been lying to us. Yeah, he wasn't French.
Yeah.
Set a schedule. The whole idea was that in Prague we took the approach that we would all shoot in the same place on the same day. So there was a way to wrangle that. But it took its own shape and form, and we wound up shooting when we could in between classes. Got a little more intense here in Rome. It's hotter, but it all got done, and only because I think the students showed great perseverance and hung in there. And we'll see. It's in the can now. We'll see what it looks like.
Having the film production component has made things a little bit more challenging, I think, on this trip, because we had to devote a lot of time to the actual production in the field of shooting the scripts. And I think we encountered a lot of things that we didn't think about beforehand, such as the large crowds that we were going to encounter in Prague and here in Rome, limited access in some areas, not being able to set up a tripod in some areas. So from that standpoint, this has been completely different on this trip because we were extremely busy during that time we were shooting film scenes.
On a remote basis, over several months leading up to the study abroad trip, Kevin worked with each student separately as they developed the premise first into an outline of a story, then into a print magazine piece, and finally into a film script. The students then broke down their scripts to ready them to shoot. Remarkably, this is something these students were not trained for and had not tried before. That is, to create something from nothing and to fashion a film script, inventing characters and writing their dialogue. In accomplishing this, they impressed their teacher.
We started out by giving everyone the same premise to sort of get them all on the same page. And that was a student in study abroad loses their passport and they find it in another city, located in another city, and when they do, there's something more than they bargained for. So a simple premise that each could subscribe to and then take in their own direction. That was the idea.
Yes, Kevin's really experienced, so it's cool getting to work with him, and he knows so many things that I wouldn't have even thought of, even just camera angles and costume changes and stuff like that. So it's really helpful, and it's cool to see the inside of the industry.
Yeah, I think it was a great opportunity that we had Kevin here, because I think there's a lot that he knows that we don't know yet, and it's great that he's been able to teach us so much.
Soon it was time to travel. Raising the bar even further was the fact that the student filmmakers would have to crew for each other and make their films without the opportunity to cast trained actors. They could act in the films themselves, and/or they could cast fellow study abroad student volunteers. Turns out they did both. And with well-received reviews, one director even cast her professor.
Avante! These are the Spanish steps.
The fact that these student volunteers could serve as actors and do as well as I think they did was a big surprise to me. And I think a big boost, hopefully, to the finished product.
So I've never acted before, but I've taken a lot of speech classes, so I thought that would help me a lot. And it did help me a lot. I wasn't as nervous as I thought I was gonna be, but I giggled a lot when I messed up, so I had to learn how to keep my composure, but I did shock myself.
I had done plays in elementary school, and I feel like that's the level I brought to this movie, so.
I have had experience acting before, though not to the point of this, not as much of a story. I did pride myself in being able to kind of not really cry or shed tears, but act very upset, and it was very similar to how I laugh, I think is why I did so well at it.
No, I've never acted before. I took a few theater camp lessons when I was younger, but I mean, that was over 10 years ago. But yeah, I think I did surprise myself a little bit, which was great. And even Kevin commented on it too, so that was a huge deal.
At one point I'm going to get in that direction more too, because I have to get...
No small feat was Roy Flynn managing to get all the equipment needed out on location, not only for these students to work with, but for all comm arts students who are studying abroad on this trip to use. With all else already detailed, now factor in the extreme summer heat and crush of tourists. These students and their teachers seized the opportunity and turned it into a recipe for success. Storytelling is a unique art and at the core of all we do in life. The ability to tell a story in a different way often helps shape and define success, no matter the field of endeavor. For these students, that was the challenge they accepted and overcame.
Using all my breath, making love to you was never second best.